But I think what has happened that is a bit different. Aaron alluded to this a little bit with regard to, the Arab states have done nothing to stop this, and they continued even the relationship with Israel, especially those who had a relationship with Israel, like Egypt and Jordan and the United Arab Emirates. But when you look at that in terms of, the big picture, one reason why that was the case is that strategically, they thought the relationship with Israel was necessary for their stronger relationship with Washington, and they had relied on Washington. So, as the saying used to go, the shortest path to Washington went through Tel Aviv. That's something that Arabs had concluded really pretty much after the end of the Cold War in the 1990s and the first Iraq War. And we've seen even those who didn't have diplomatic relations with Israel still thinking that being friendly with Israel helps them with Washington, and they desperately needed Washington's support. I think something has happened here the last 2 years. Something that happened that we have to be aware of we as the United States in terms of the picture. I don't think this triangular Arab-Israeli-American relationship has worked out like the Arabs have anticipated. For one thing, many of them have independent relationship with Washington now. Trump went first to Saudi Arabia before he went to Israel. They give and Israel takes, and he likes transactions where people give more than they take. There is something, first of all, different about that. But more importantly, when the Israelis have projected an expansionist policy that goes against their public opinion and their interests. And some of them have talked about expansion even beyond the West Bank and Gaza. In a way, even in the discourse, that even Egypt feels a little insecure. Even non-Arab states like Turkey feel a little insecure about Israeli intentions in the region and what Israel does. That they see that the problem, the triangular relationship where they're dependent on Israel for the relationship with Washington starts working against them. What happens when they start seeing Israel more of as a threat to them, either political threat domestically or strategic threat to them? And Washington is forced to take sides, and Washington always takes the Israeli side, as we have seen with Qatar. Yes, at the end, the president came in and did a new agreement with Qatar and forced Netanyahu to apologize, but nonetheless, when push came to shove, Israel attacked Qatar, the U.S. All of the billions of dollars that were spent by the Qataris to defend themselves, even though they were cutting edge, supposedly American weapons, couldn't stop it. And certainly the U.S. Air Force base was not activated to stop it in any shape or form. And so in that sense, that wasn't particularly helpful to them. Now you see, up until really the last few years, everybody still thought of the world as being more or less American domination with a lot of rising powers, including China. But right now it's become a bipolar world. There's no doubt about it. Not only because China and the U.S. are now fighting a trade war and a lot is at stake, and China is being more aggressive internationally, but because China, for the first time, is really playing a military card. They're exhibiting their hardware, their sophisticated airplanes, their sophisticated missiles, and they're selling them, and they're making them available. Something that was not available. I mean, obviously the air battle between India and Pakistan had kind of brought attention, international attention to sophisticated Chinese aircraft. But there are a lot of Arab states now that are considering buying cutting-edge Chinese weapons. I don't think the Arab countries are at a point where they would abandon the United States. They won't. They're still dependent on the U.S. They have a strong relationship with the U.S. They have too many interests with the U.S. But I do think they're going to start diversifying. I don't think they're going to put their eggs in the same in one basket, and that is going to lead to kind of walking away from the nature of the triangular relationship that has bound them to the U.S. That is, the relationship has to go through Israel. And that's where we are strategically. While the Arab states have not acted in any shape or form to end the carnage in Gaza, I think there is a point of shift that's taken place globally and certainly in the thinking in the region.